So if you've been following my channel, you know that recently I did grab a Xbox Series X. I still got my Series S back there, and I want to talk about Xbox because while I do have my experiences that I want to talk about that I've been enjoying, I do also have some of my issues and concerns with Xbox as well.
Just give up as a console.
Let's talk about it. So someone did leave a comment on my video about the Xbox restocking, and the question they gave me was, why was I buying a Series X when I already have a Series S? Now, I want to talk about that real quickly because there are some things that need to be talked about with the S and the X. I've heard a lot of different YouTubers over the past couple years talk about how the Series S is not a fully next-gen experience because you're not going to get 4K resolution gameplay. It's going to be like upscale to like 1440 or whatever they tell you. I can't speak on the 1440 aspect of it, but I can say it is 4K next-gen gaming. The games that I've played on both the S and the X with some testing was primarily the same overall with a couple of exceptions. Now, when it comes to graphically, beautiful games like Red Dead Redemption 2, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, I can't compare it on both consoles because I own both of those games physically, and I'm not going to buy them again just to test it on my Series S. But for the most part, you may not see much of a difference depending on the game you're playing, depending on if your TV does support HDMI 2.1. Apparently, the Series S only ships with an HDMI 2.0, not a 2.1. My TV cannot do 4K 120. It can do 4K 60 and lower. So, with that in mind, when people say the Series S is not a next-gen gaming console or full next-gen gaming console, it is. It's a cheaper option with digital only, with less hard drive space, but you can play 4K games. I did try Forza on both of them. No real difference to me in terms of performance and graphical quality. It all played pretty much the same to me. I just recently picked up Assassin's Creed Odyssey for $25 digitally with all the DLC, and on the Series X it looks phenomenal, and I'm excited to see what Valhalla looks like. I haven't tried Valhalla yet. I'm worried if I try it, I'm gonna love it more than Odyssey. So I'm gonna try to finish out Odyssey and then try it. But that's beside the point. What I'm talking about here is why I went with the X and what I'm gonna do with the S, as well as some other things I want to talk about. Now, with the X, yes, I can now get physical games. I am a physical collector. I haven't had physical games in a while because of my Series S. When I play Nintendo games, yeah, I get those physically, but it's not the same for me, There was a time where buying physically will save you on hard drive space compared to buying digitally. Apparently, that's no longer a thing. You're going to use the same amount of install size whether you go physical or digital. And yes, going digital is more easier, not having to take out a disc, put it in the case, open another case, put a new disc in. But there is there is times where you can get a physical game for a lot cheaper than a digital game, and there are times where you can get a digital game for a lot cheaper over a physical. So you kind of have that scale thing going on where it's going to be heavier on one side and then it'll switch and be heavier on the other side. But I also have a pretty decent movie collection, and most of them are, a good number of them are 4K. And I can watch the digital copies of these 4Ks on my phone or my iPad or my TV doing like a stream to it. But it's not going to be as perfect as putting a 4K disc in my Xbox and watching those movies. And that's something that I want to do. I like to collect 4K movies, and I can't watch them because I didn't have a 4K player. I don't have a PS5. The PS4 Pro cannot play 4K movies, which is stupid. So I can now play my movies in 4K and enjoy them at home. In terms of the whole performance difference between 12 teraflops versus 4 teraflops, I can't speak on that in terms of what the hell that means. But as I said with Odyssey, it looks phenomenal, and some games may perform a little bit better, but you may not see a huge difference. It is varied based on game to game. Guardians of the Galaxy played mostly the same on both consoles. The exception being on the X, there was maybe less bugs in the game than there was on Series S. But even on the Series S, no bugs were game breaking. I just do a checkpoint restart and I'm good to go. So you are going to have those differences that could happen. In terms of GTA 5, the Series X does open a ray tracing option for graphics, whereas the S doesn't. But that's not really doing much different in terms of performance and quality, in my opinion. Ray tracing is just to get the fucking reflections off of shit. The S still has the performance versus the quality options for graphics in GTA 5. So that's pretty much the main part about performance with the S and the X. I did have the expansion card on my S, it's now in my X, so I now have almost 2 terabytes total of storage to use. The Series S, after doing a couple of resets and factory reset, because I had another issue I had to fix, you only get about 300 something gigabytes anyway. So I thought about taking my Series S and selling it, but there's other uses for me to use it. For example, I can take it with me when I go to visit people, friends, family, and I want to bring the Xbox. It's smaller, it's heavy, it's less heavier. I have a carrying bag for it. And if my Series S gets damaged, it's gonna suck, but not as much as it'll suck for damaging the Series X. So it's light enough to travel. I can bring it to my family's house and play games with my little brother. And I do have some co-op games installed on my Series S. Unravel 2, Overcooked, It Takes Two, Mortal Kombat I have in there. I have WWE, some fighting games. Like, my little brother is surprisingly good in Mortal Kombat, but he plays it on Switch. So I wanted to see the difference on next gen with Mortal Kombat 11 on Series S. So that's kind of like my co-op fighting game machine that I can take with me and play people on the go. Not on the go, but outside of my home. Another reason why I thought about keeping it was there is an option to turn it into an emulator, and I'm sure you can do it with the X as well, but people were saying it's better on the S than the X. I don't know why. But for $20, you can turn it into an emulator and get all these classic games from Nintendo, Sega, PlayStation, GameCube, Nintendo DS. You can put them on your Series S and play those games for $20 flat rate. There's a whole process of doing it. Developer kit is what you're paying for, and then to actually get the ROMs legally. So there is that option to play it as an emulator. Other than that, I was thinking about trading it in, selling it, but for now I'm going to hold on to it and get those types of uses out of it. Now, I want to talk about my problem with Xbox, because while I am enjoying my Series X, I'm enjoying what I'm playing. I'm playing quite a few Ubisoft games because they seem to make more games than anybody now. I have some problems when it comes to games in terms of exclusives for Xbox, because number one, I will never buy an Xbox exclusive because they're on Game Pass. There's no point in buying it unless you want to own it physically. But when it comes to these exclusives, what exactly are we going to play for the rest of this year and beginning of next year? Because I looked at some of the exclusives releasing for Xbox this year, and they all seem to be, for the most part, a first-person experience, maybe a shooter or some other type of first-person game. And I don't think there's much variety in that. And you have to be honest with yourselves, that does kind of seem like what it is. If you look at what we have now so far, Gears of War 5, I believe, was a last gen game that got released and is now, updated for upgradable to X and S. Halo Infinite, kind of disappointed for me. It was disappointing to me. It didn't look as great. It was an empty map. The story was just the gameplay was just So Halo, again, first person shooter exclusive. We did get Forza Horizon 7, but for me, and granted, I love Forza, like I really do love Forza, but after playing 3 and 4 and now 5, Forza Horizon series just for me has just been the same thing. So I kind of just uninstalled Forza 5 and I'm waiting for Forza Motorsport because it is a different experience. It is on track and not open world. That was supposed to happen soon. Motorsport 8 is supposed to happen soon. I don't know what's going on with that. But in terms of some of these games, I have my iPad here. I have some games that I wrote down of what's releasing this year. And I don't think these are enough games, or these games are worth mentioning for exclusives that's worth playing, in my opinion. This is how I feel. Okay? Number one is Scorn. Very basic teaser trailer. No information about that in the trailer. I don't know what it's about other than it's a survival horror game exclusive to Xbox. Cool. Give me some survival horror. That's fine. I'll take it. I like survival horror. I like to have those experiences, but I know nothing about it, so I can't talk much about that. There's one called Avowed or Avaweed. We don't know how it's pronounced. Mighty Q said Avaweed, so I'm gonna say Avaweed. First person game with like magic and knights, I guess, and kings. But again, first person. Why are we playing these first person games over and over again? Outer Worlds 2, first person. Warhammer, first person. Like, there's really no variety. When you look at Sony's exclusives, and again, this isn't one of those Sony Pony Xbox type of thing. Do you see a PS5 here? Because I don't. But in terms of Sony exclusives, you have the family-friendly ones like Ratchet and Clank and Sackboy's Big Adventure. You have the RPGs like Final Fantasy VII. You have the Demon Souls. You got Horizon Forbidden West. You got Returnal, Spider-Man, Gran Turismo 7. So you are seeing much more variety in the exclusives on Sony's side as compared to the exclusives that we get on Xbox. And I've heard the argument before about Microsoft buying all these indie developers and these other companies to get more exclusives, but it's all still just first person. Bethesda, you got Dishonored and Doom, Prey, Skyrim, all first person. Yes, Skyrim has third person mode, but all first person. You look at Activision Blizzard, you got Overwatch, they're first person. You got hopefully Tony Hawk will be part of the Blizzard thing. I hope so. If not, whatever. But people, I think, are primarily focused on that for Overwatch 2, which is, you know, first person. I keep saying first person, and now it sounds weird to say it, but that's what we kind of get. Oh, Call of Duty. Call of Duty is by Activision and Blizzard, or mainly Activision. So if that becomes full exclusive to Xbox, guess what Call of Duty is? It's first person. EA Play. They have Star Wars Battlefront, which is third person and first person. You got Battlefield, first person. It's all first person games on Xbox, and I'm sick of it. Like, if you look at my physical collection right now, I have Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Devil May Cry 5, Red Dead Redemption 2, I have Riders Republic and Watch Dogs. They are all third person experiences. You have the action adventure hack and slash game, you have the RPG, you have the open world, you have the sports game, the extreme sports game. So my point here is that I want to see more exclusives coming to Xbox, and to me, I wish they'd be more interesting to me. One of the games they did mention releasing that is exclusive and is not first person as far as I know is State of Decay 3, which, is anyone even playing State of Decay at all? Or is anyone even fans of State of Decay? I don't know. But, you know, you look at Sony, they also have other exclusive from the last gen that they could see more releases going forward, like Uncharted and Last of Us. God of War, I can't believe I forgot to mention God of War is releasing supposedly this year, but probably not. And that's one of the things I want to talk about with the Xbox is if we're gonna get exclusives and they're coming to Game Pass day one, which is amazing. That I played the Halo franchise to get ready for Halo 5 because it was gonna be on Game Pass. Forza was on Game Pass, and again, I love Forza, but we need more of these variety, more variety in our exclusives. And I know there are some other games that are on Xbox that are on Game Pass that are not first person, but they're not exclusive to Xbox. You have the Ori games, Ori and the Will of the Wisp, and the sequel, or whichever one the sequel, is on Game Pass, but it's not an exclusive. Psychonauts 2 was a big release for a lot of people, which is on Game Pass. It's not exclusive. It's on PC and PlayStation 4. So I think that we do have the potential here to get more of these exclusives to release on Xbox and have really great experiences. The only one I can think of releasing for Xbox that isn't first person and probably is a big time exclusive release is the Hellblade sequel. I think it's called Senua's Sacrifice, I think is what they're calling the second one. I don't remember. I'm not a fan of the series, but you look at Sony's major releases, even though they have various exclusives. God of War is a major release. Halo Infinite was Xbox's major release. Spider-Man comes out next year, and Wolverine I think the same year or the year after. Our biggest next release for Xbox, Starfield, that everyone is freaking out about but have no idea what it's about. not only is it first person because it's Bethesda and it's most likely, I think, confirmed first person, it's been pushed back to next year. For as far as we can tell, it could be even further. So, is Xbox releasing anything exclusive within this year that's worth playing or not a first person shooter? I don't know. I don't think there really is. And again, I want to see more. I want to enjoy my Xbox more. I stopped playing Switch to get ready for my Xbox because my last Switch game that I bought was Lego Star Wars, and to me, it wasn't a great experience on Switch. And that's when I said, fuck it, I'm gonna play my Xbox more. And then the S was in stock, and I bought the X. So it's not the Sony Pony Xbot thing, argument. I want to see more exclusives from Xbox, and I want to see a variety of these types of genres available. And I don't think Xbox is really doing that right now. But they can, and they are doing other things too. Cross-plays and cloud gaming. You can play games on Xbox One and the Series. Eventually that's going to end, I think, because there's games being developed only for the next-gen consoles. We can talk about that another time. But yeah, I can't think of anything else that's releasing on Xbox that is going to be a fun, brand new, very varied experience other than all the first person shit. I think Crossfire X came out a couple months ago, which is first person and failed. So, but that's my video for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope I made you laugh with the whole first person thing. I know Frankie is gonna like that part. Frankie, when you watch this, I know you're gonna love it. So, that's my time. That's my opinions. Let me know in the comments what you think. And I will see you guys next time. I'm gonna go play some Assassin's Creed. Well, after I edit this, I'm gonna go play some more Assassin's Creed. Never thought I would ever say that in my life.